Couple left astonished after the true identity of their puppy gets revealed. This is an amazing incident which occurred in England. After fulfilling their desire of bringing a puppy to their house, a couple's life turned on its head after the series of developments which took place months after the puppy's arrival. Their perception towards the puppy they'd brought initially in their small house completely changed after some time. Keeping a puppy in one's house is an idea that comes to many people's minds, for which they put an ardent effort in particularly selecting the breed which would suit them and most importantly be a source of happiness for the family. But when a family from Lincolnshire, England decided to do something like that, they ended up experiencing something unbelievable. The task of finding a puppy which would perfectly suit their household proved to be an easy task for the couple Sue and Robert Markham living in Lincolnshire, England. The reason being that Sue was a worker in a neighborhood rescue kennel. Eventually, one day she saw a dog in the kennel and fell in love with it at first sight. The dog Sue chose is the one in this picture. Seeing the cute and chubby little face, you'll not be surprised in knowing that Sue made up her mind in an instant that this was the dog she was craving as a pet. She did the same and took the dog to her home. After bringing the cute dog to her home, she couldn't resist herself from playing with it. She even named it Yogi Bear, getting inspired by the dog's chubby look. But there was one dilemma lingering in her mind amidst all this. But what? Apparently, Sue's husband Robert was a man who was very choosy when it came to selecting a dog for their house. So Sue was not very sure of the fact that Robert would happily accept her decision. But what Sue decided to do in order to evade this problem was the factor which turned the couple's world upside down. Though very chubby, the dog didn't weigh much. The tiny creature weighed around 1 pound and 5 ounces. Sue lied to Robert, saying that she'd brought a Jack Russell puppy to the house, a decision to which Robert was agreeing. In order to pay for the dog, Sue continued her work in the shelter. In her mind, Sue knew that one day or the other Robert would know the truth. "I knew Robert didn't want a big dog," Sue explained, "so I told a little fib and said he was a Jack Russell. But as things progressed, it was evident reality was the opposite." "I thought a big dog would be a lot of work and could be trouble," Robert said. "We only have a small living room. I thought, how much trouble can a Jack Russell be?" As we said, things were gradually turning out to be the complete opposite as they assumed. The Yogi Bear was proving true to its name and was literally turning into a dog the size of a bear. Robert went on to say, by the time he was 5 months old, he was bigger than any Jack Russell he came across at the park, and he had this big tongue that rolled out of his mouth and a tail like a baseball bat. After seeing these changes, suspicion started to creep into Robert's mind, as he couldn't believe that a Jack Russell would grow up so big. Sue was clearly aware that Robert started to doubt the fact of the dog being a Jack Russell, so eventually she decided to tell Robert the truth. "It started to become fairly obvious when Bear dwarfed any other dogs in the village," she said, "so the game was up." But what even Sue hadn't expected was the fact that the dog was a Boston Great Dane, which after growing fully can weigh up to 154 pounds. Robert was angry and equally perplexed about the situation. The truth was that the dog had become a part of the family, and it was impossible for the couple to let it go. So they took the courageous decision of keeping the dog in their house, which was day by day growing bigger in size. The couple was really unable to decide how to manage the situation. "He's a very good-natured dog," Robert said, "and he has a lot of character, so it would be hard for anyone not to love him or be angry with him." But the size that Yogi was gonna reach would soon blow the couple's mind. Today, Yogi exercises in a 3-acre paddock, the reason being his enormous weight of 210 pounds at the age of 10. Surely this wasn't something Robert had originally planned for. Honestly, this was exactly the situation Robert was trying to avoid by bringing a small dog instead. The larger the dog, the bigger its diet. No doubt Yogi has an insatiable hunger for food. The couple suffered a serious dent in their budget as Yogi itself ate dog food worth $257. Apart from this, at his breakfast he'd eat 4 sausages and scrambled eggs. There are also bound to be some serious space issues when you have a dog measuring 6 feet 10 inches in a small house. Yogi sleeps on a 2-person sofa, and during winter it has a horse coat, which fits him and keeps him warm. After receiving such special treatment, Yogi is now no longer a dog. He enjoys the same benefits of a person. He certainly thinks of himself as a real person, Sue explained. He sits on his own sofa and watches TV with us. Despite his imposing physique, Yogi has shown signs of being a very friendly and kind dog. The instance of him being friendly with a cat that started to visit the house in 2014 is an apt example of this. The couple was astonished in witnessing this sight. This cat, which pays regular visits to the house, has also been named by the couple as Toffee. They understand that the only reason Toffee coming to their house is Yogi. They're good friends, Sue said. Toffee's always following him around and he'll happily lick her on the head very gently. Bear sees Toffee as his own pet, I think, as she's certainly not our cat. This dog has certainly made the whole local area talk about it. This doesn't come as a surprise, as there are very few dogs who'd show such level of care and love to another creature, even looking as gigantic and intimidating as Yogi does. So in the end, two things have been proven. First, you should avoid lying about certain things, as it might bring temporary relief but become a cause of bigger tension later. Lastly, the couple's decision of not abandoning the dog is commendable, as they realized that they developed a bond with the dog, which in turn gave them strength to face all the challenges while taking care of Yogi.